guys. Welcome to More Than a Podcast. It's your host, James. It is November the 20th, 2019. And as always, you're listening to more of the greatness, as I always bring you. Man, this is coming down to the wire. We're getting closer and closer to the end of the year here. And one thing that's really fun about getting to the end of the year and kind of wrapping up our gaming experience and everything that we go through is really getting to the point where we culminate all of our experiences and just pick the best. Now, I know a lot of mediums like to focus on the one that stands overall, and that's cool, but usually you get into a perspective where you can agree to disagree, because not everybody's top, video game or console or whatnot is going to be the same for the next person. What I actively thought about doing, because I never do this. I never figured to be one to conduct any, such rating or anything like that. Like I said, I'm not a reviewer, but I thought it would be fun because I wanted to kind of talk about, in my opinion, the most impactful games from the beginning of the year to now that we have had. And then I want to take every one of them that I mention and I want to boil them down to what I feel is reasonable top 5. All right. So it's already going to be hard enough to get to 10. So like before the show started, I was actually thumbing through resources, and I was looking up a lot of what has been released from January to now, even proactively looking towards December, just to kind of see if I can honorably mention a candidate to wear that illustrious crown as a game of the year type of candidate. See, so for me, it's literally gonna be 5 games that throughout the year of 2019 I absolutely could not live without. So with that being said, let's kind of get into it because I'm excited. Okay, so this is disclaimer. This is exactly how it's going to go. Basically, look, this isn't just about my particular interest or things that I've played, because I'm going to mention a lot of stuff that I haven't touched before. But at the same time, I'm not going to ignore the gravity of how important the game is to the culture. So putting it out there like that. All right. So, and I'll just kind of go into those details, whether I've played it or I have not. And then you'll see as I slowly start to kind of dwindle this down so that it basically boils into just a solid 10 games. All right. You guys with me? Ready? Cool. All right. So I'm going to start from the beginning. Resident Evil 2 remake. Like, I don't even really need to say anything else about this game. I mean, from the moment that it was announced or when they did the teaser and we were still trying to find out what game it was, and then they the camera ultimately came on to Leon. I mean, I still get goosebumps watching that. I mean, Capcom really came through that year, and they absolutely delivered with the release of Resident Evil 2. What's really funny, and I think this is something that you could even hear in the reaction to the reveal, that release date came quick. Like, it literally was in the span of 3 months. I mean, not 3 months. I'm sorry, 6 months. Six months and a half and some change, because it came out early January or mid-January. But yeah, dude, it was a good game. Now, I'm a person that I played the original Resident Evil 2, and for me, the experience was a very hybrid feeling. I felt a lot of nostalgia from the origins of the game I used to know, and I felt a lot of innovation with the forward progression and modernization of a lot of those scenarios and how the game plays out, and I love it. And this is, it's really funny because I always like to break this down into this understanding of what games would I grab up and take to GameStop if I had to get a few bucks together. And Resident Evil 2 is one of those games that I wouldn't even have to hide from myself. It just wouldn't get picked up to get sold ever. This copy that I have will be with me forever, and I will pass it down to whomever wants, within in my circle. If somebody's that lucky, but it's not leaving, the point of me actually securing the title. Like, I'm just not getting rid of it at all. Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, I haven't played this game, but I know how pivotal the franchise of Kingdom Hearts is. The third game in itself was just a long journey to come to this point of fruition. And one of the things that really interests me with games like this that have a very story development process is I always want to know, like, I wish more studios, or I wish studios in general, because I don't even think they do this, but if games take this long to come out, I wish there was some kind of documentation. Like, if they recorded video, audio, just anything to just document the process that it took to get this game made. Because the one thing that I feel is important is us as fans, we really need to understand what, developers, publishers, everybody, what they deal with. And we need to know what sacrifices go into making such a great game like a Kingdom Hearts 3. Like I said, I haven't played it, but I don't need to play it to know that they weren't gonna fall short of letting it follow two of the greatest games of all time in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. So I would absolutely say that is a candidate for a game of the year, or top 10 and top 5 in my list. Apex Legends. All right. So here's something funny about Apex Legends. I literally was reading an article about the release of this game, and I had no idea what it was. All I saw was the title of the game and that it was free. And I said, okay, well, let me try it out. And I went and I downloaded it and was completely floored by how amazing it was, or it is. I mean, it is a really good game. It's always funny with shooters because I'm one of those people that I'm not good at shooters. Well, I'm good at them until the good people actually start showing up, and then it's like, time to go. I was sitting in this chair, I really don't partake in any of the competitive nature of games like this. I mean, this is why they build them, but I did have an opportunity to really dig into the mechanics and how it was different than games that were or are dominating the market, like Fortnite and PUBG, and it's super cool. I mean, just their approach to this kind of, one versus all type of deal is just amazing. I really, really, really enjoy their execution on it. I enjoy the layout of, the levels, the weapons, the abilities to, bring attention to, gear that you may not need, so you can let your teammates know what you see, where you see people, anything like that. Like, those things are cool, and I really did enjoy a lot of that when I did take time to play. And so, yeah, I absolutely think this is one of those pivotal top 10 candidates for sure. Devil May Cry 5. Now, this one's really hard to put in this whole topic, but I feel like it has to be there by default because Devil May Cry 5 was such, like Kingdom Hearts, it was a journey to prominence, and I feel that this is a game that really allowed Capcom, because at this point, when they released Devil May Cry 5, this was where I said, okay, Capcom is no longer going to sit on their thumbs and not make sure that they're putting quality out of the door. At least some of the developers that are under their umbrella. But this is one of those games where I just said, man, like, this is a return to form. Like, there's been so many ups and downs through the series. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that 2 was a bad game. It just wasn't a game that I felt flowed from 1. 3 was okay to me. And 4, I didn't even give it a try. So, 5, even though I personally was a bit apprehensive of playing as Nero, because he's the protagonist at this stage, I felt like the game deserved another chance for me because of all that I put off from it in its history. And I gotta say, I haven't completed the game, but it is absolutely, again, just like Resident Evil 2, this is not a game that I would pick up to go and sell because I needed some extra change. Not at all. Not in a million years. This is absolutely a keeper. If you haven't played it, I absolutely recommend that you do play it, especially if you are just into frantic, just frantic balls to the wall action. Just it's insane. It's a really, really good game. And the soundtrack is like the one thing that like really kind of puts you in the element of what that game is, and it's super cool. Next game is the Division 2. Now, a lot of people might be saying, "Oh, you are so sucking right now," but listen, if there's a few things that Ubisoft does right, the Division is one of them. I really enjoyed the first Division. I played that game from alpha to beta to release, and I've done the same thing with the Division 2. I enjoy what the game is, and I know that it does have a really frantic user base. Am I a part of that user base? I am not. I have made a point to say that I will no longer invest my money in a forward investment that I personally don't understand. Like, I literally went out on Division 1 and I bought the $100 get it all right now pack, and I don't think I played 3 out of the 4 DLC packs. And that's just, in all honesty, I just didn't. So I didn't feel that it would behoove me to go out and do the same for Division 2. I had fun with Division 2. I've beaten Division 2. I've played a little of the after game, campaigning, but I just really didn't feel like, it was enough to keep me year round. Like, Division 1 did something right, because I literally played that game year after year after year and didn't hesitate to even think about the game being stagnant. I mean, I actually wouldn't mind putting it back on my hard drive just to kind of see if people are still floating around over there, and I'm pretty sure they are, like they are in Destiny 1. But again, for what I understand, Ubisoft bringing to their fans, I know that this is a game that is highly respected by a lot of their user base. I mean, look, one thing that I could say about Ubisoft and any of their, I think most of their games revolve around guns, but this is the one game that really puts you in the driver's seat as far as what type of offensive cavalry you're carrying. I mean, I really felt like a boss carrying guns that in the first game I would have never touched. I would have never touched a light machine gun, but they made it worth it in Division 2. I thought that if I just stick with submachine guns that I'd be okay, but like, the one thing that the Division 2 did very well in execution was incentivize me to pursue other tiers of offense. So yeah, that's what I would say about that. This is a divisive game only because I'm really spoiled off of this game, and I will explain why. And it is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Now, here is what I'm going to say. I love all the games in the vein of Dark Souls. Okay? Love them all. This is the one exception. I can't stand this game. I've only beaten one boss and one sub boss. So that was the general on the horse. Just saying it like that should show you how much disdain I have for it, because I could if you talked to me and said, "Oh, what's your favorite part of Bloodborne?" I could sit here and I could rattle off my favorite bosses by name. Same thing with Dark Souls 3. I don't have too much experience with 2 or 1 or Demon Souls, but you get the point. Like, I can really recollect and hone in on the things that I enjoy. I did not enjoy this game. I thought that for me, it was too steep of a learning curve for someone who was already primarily invested in that game style. It's like I felt that as long as I had the fundamentals of a Souls game, a true Souls game, that I should have an easier transition into this. That is not the case. It's like it completely flips the mechanics on its head, it's like it's almost like the same kind of transition that Dark Souls had going into Bloodborne, because Bloodborne was something that a lot of people were just like, oh, it's no Souls, it's too fast, and you can roll and you can do this, and there's no punishment, and da 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 da, and you don't have shields, and I enjoyed that game. And Sekiro is just as fast, if not faster, than Bloodborne. But to negate a few of the mechanics that I feel make Souls games worth it, it just didn't do it for me. And I will be very, very, very open and honest and just say that the one mechanic that I felt like it needed and it didn't have was the companion and invasion mechanic. Like, I know that it didn't fit in with the story at all, but I enjoyed the factor of whether if I was stuck at a point, I could call in somebody to assist me, get me over that hump, and then I can continue on my journey. And maybe somewhere down the line, I could either return the favor or I could ask for more assistance. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and hide away from the fact that I need help sometimes. But this game does not hold your hand. It does not give favors, and it is absolutely as punishing as Dark Souls. But I know this game, and it is a very beautiful game. It is a very well executed game. It has a very good story. It's just not for me. But I would still put it in a potential top 10 for Game of the Year. So, next game, Mortal Kombat 11. Mortal Kombat 11. Mortal Kombat 11. Like, I don't even have to say anything. Like, Mortal Kombat 11 is probably the biggest jump between two particular games in a franchise that I've ever seen. Ever. Like, thinking about Mortal Kombat X to Injustice 2 and to Mortal Kombat 11, there's no comparison. There's just no comparison. It is a superior game in every single right. And it's not just the technology, it's not just the execution, dude. It's just a better game. Period. Point blank. And this is one of those games that you can play year in and year out. It doesn't stagnate. And okay, so well, it does. But let me say it like this. Now, people are still playing Street Fighter 5, right? People are still playing Street Fighter 5. I believe that Mortal Kombat 11 has the potential to get people to play that long if they just continue to execute with the characters right. Now they have been kind of slipping a little bit. Me personally, like I loved Shang Tsung. I really loved when they brought him into the fold. I was excited for Nightwolf. I kind of fell off when they got to Terminator. I'm not really excited for Sindel. Not really excited for Joker, and I'm definitely coming back around for Spawn. But aside from all that, these games just hands down some of the best fighting you are ever going to see. And I feel like what they've done, because in Mortal Kombat X, it was completely, lopsided in its ability to make things easy for certain people. And I feel like they've got the perfect balance between a casual person who's just having fun and the hardcore person who is just very proficient at their character. And the one thing that I really, really like about Mortal Kombat 11 is the customization to make a character your own. It is super cool to think that you can have Sub-Zero who can be as quick and as on point as you need him to be, or as slow and as calculating as he should be. Like, it's really, really cool to know that you can, build a character and into the exact point of how you want them to play. One of the best. One of my candidates. Days Gone. Game I don't have much experience with, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who, I know they had a lot of glitches and a lot of problems in the early stages of the release of the game, but I know that they've cleaned a lot of it up. The one thing that I have heard a lot about this game is it's absolutely beautiful, like, very picturesque, a lot of good value in, utilizing the camera feature and whatnot. So, really good game moving forward in that respect. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Now, here's what I'm going to say about this. I love Bloodstained. One of the best things that they did was release the appetizer that was Curse of the Moon, the NES type deal that they released. And once Bloodstained Ritual of the Night came out, I mean, it just was so good. Listen, I know a lot of people will say, well, it wasn't like Symphony Night. It's not supposed to be like Symphony Night, okay? It was what it needed to be. It was absolutely fun. I enjoyed it, and this is one of those games that in playing it, I mean, I was in the middle of playing it, and I told myself there has to be a sequel to this game. This is a game you take these characters, you build on top of them, or you introduce characters that are in lineage of who they've introduced, and you just keep it going forward. Like, I would be so upset if I came to realize that they weren't going to make another Bloodstain. Like, I feel like they have to. I really feel like they have to. It's on my wish list. Super Mario Maker 2, another game I have not played, but I know a lot of people who have played it. It's frustrating. It's awesome. It is creative. It gets your brain moving. It's Mario. Why not? Final Fantasy 14 Shadowbringers. This was really a coming to form on the Final Fantasy 14 release, which has been years and years and years going. It is still one of the last standing, next to World of Warcraft, one of the last standing paid subscription MMOs, and it's doing absolutely well. They've streamlined the introduction portion of the game because, like, the first 20 levels is a real slog to get through, so they've streamlined a lot of that. And to be really honest, Shadowbringers brought me back to Final Fantasy 14. I had bought none of the DLC or any of the expansion packs. Shadowbringers dropped a trailer, and I said, take my money. And it's been really, really fun. So I think for the factor of reigniting a resurgence, this has to go on the list. Control. So Remedy Games, Remedy Entertainment, whatever you want to call them, they released a game called Control. Control is kind of in the vein of a Quantum Break, kind of, sort of. You play as a young lady. I believe her name's Jessie Faden. Well, anyway, you slowly gain superpowers. You start tearing stuff up, and you're just really awesome. And it's a really creepy game. I enjoyed it. I highly recommend anybody play it. If you're into really in-depth, story-driven games with a lot of mystery and a whole bunch of insane powers, play this game. I mean, it's really, really cool. But I have no shame in saying that the next game is a whole lot cooler, and it is Astral Chain. Astral Chain is, without question, I don't care what kind of list I'm doing right now, it is absolutely going on my top 10 list. It will be one of the 10. That is hands down going to happen. Blair Witch is a game that came out on the Xbox One, and I think that a lot of people were asking for something that was in the vein of an Outlast, and this delivered. Gears 5 is a huge one. I know that has really sparked up a lot of interest on the Xbox One. In the last leg of this console generation, it's been a really good game for people to buy into who don't have multiple consoles and still kind of need to get that fix into those hectic shooters. Borderlands 3, like, duh. That's another game that's absolutely going. There are games that are staples on my list, and like I said, Astral Chain's one of them. Borderlands 3 is another. One of my hidden picks. This is a game I didn't even know what this was. This was almost in the same way that I experienced Apex Legends. I did not know what this game was. I literally read about it the day before it released. It is AI, the Somnium Files. AI, the Somnium Files is a interactive visual novel. It is one of the best games that has been made in 2019. This is absolutely getting that staple. So, yes. So I got 3 of them that I know for sure are going to be on that list. This might be on your list, the next game. The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. This is a game I did not grab. And I did not grab it because I really don't like grabbing games off of pure hype. This was hyped up beyond anything. I know that it has served a purpose for a lot of people, but for me, I was just like, I don't think this is gonna do it. But I know I respect what this game is. I respect what it's doing, and yeah, one of the Game of the Year candidates, or top 10 Game of the Year candidates. The next game, Code Vein. So Code Vein, released by Bandai Namco, is a Souls-like anime vampire game. Super awesome. Bandai Namco did a really, really cool thing by releasing one of the best demos that I've ever seen released for a game. This demo was so in-depth that for a good week, people were posting hashtag Code Vein with their creations. I mean, I spent a good 2 hours just creating my character, right? And instead of getting into the game, I was posting on social media. Look at my dude. He looks like Alucard. Da 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 da. And I mean, the sky is the absolute limit. Now, there was one limitation that I do recall. Your character built in the demo was not going to be transferable, and it said as much in launching the game. They quickly changed that when they saw how ingrained people were just in the creation of their characters. They said, you know what? People are putting so much investment in their characters. We gotta give them a smooth transition, because honestly, that transition meant money. I mean, if people are really that invested in their creations, of course they're going to carry them over into the place where they can expand that world and the experience. And yeah, I don't have the game, but I totally understand why and if people do play Code Vein. Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, another game that in its expanded form put a resurgence into a main portion of the franchise, which is Destiny 2 proper. They've had a lot of releases as far as expansion packs. Like Final Fantasy 14, I bought none of them because I am somebody who, it really takes me a lot to invest in the entirety of a universe. I want to see where it is, where it's going, where it's been, just so I can understand whether this is something I want to invest in. But with Shadowkeep, saw the trailer, looked at a lot of what they were offering. I said, here, take my money. And it has been nothing but sensational. I know that a lot of people were a bit bothered because there was the transition of this expansion, knowing that the game was going free to play. But honestly, I have no qualms with it at all. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the kind of sequel, kind of relaunch, kind of rehash, something rather. Listen, it's Call of Duty. It looks phenomenal. I haven't played it, but I know that there are going to be a lot of people that are going to vote to have this be their top game of the year. And I'm not mad. Another one of my games that I'm going to staple, number 4 that I'm stapling, no chance that anything can knock this off, The Outer Worlds. I'm not going to say anything else about it. I'm moving on to the next game. Luigi's Mansion 3, gotta bring that up because it is absolutely something that some gamers have been waiting for. I know that it has been highly lauded, highly respected, and listen, it's freaking Luigi. He deserves his own game. I'm waiting for a Waluigi game or another Wario game, which I would have a lot of fun with. One game I'm just going to bring up, and I know this is going to be another divisive game, and people are going to be like, are you crazy? And it's Death Stranding. Okay, look, we have been waiting for Death Stranding for a very long time. I am currently playing Death Stranding. I am having a very good time with Death Stranding. But I will say right now, okay, I do not believe that this game has a very good chance of making my top 10 games of the year. I said it. I'm having a great time. I'm loving everything I'm playing. I have no qualms with it. I don't want to get into the argument about what one reviewer said over another, but it's one of those situations where I say it's too little too late. If this was released sometime in the summer, I would have had more time to really invest and soak in the experience. Like, I don't really feel like I'm going to understand the gravity of what Death Stranding is until the middle of next year. And that's like me getting ready to complete the game in a minute. Like, I'm a few steps from completing the game, but I really don't feel that I will have a full grasp of what the game is until next year. Pokemon Sword and Shield, absolutely another one of those games that I know a lot of people are going to be counting on to be on the list. I know it has a huge fan base, so I know a lot of people are going to close out their year saying that this is one of the best offerings of 2019. And the last game, my little honorable mention, because I had 25 and this is 26, is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. This is what I'm going to say about the game. I don't have the game yet. It is on the way. This game is one of the games that EA has released that is not plagued in any way by the shady business practices that EA practices on a regular. This is a game that, in my observation, I have seen and I've said, glory to all. We have finally got a Star Wars game that we absolutely deserve from top to bottom, and I cannot be more happy. This is going to go down as one of the best Star Wars games ever. It's that good looking. It looks like it plays very well. I am super hyped and excited to get that game into my PS4. And yeah, so this is how this is going to go. I am going to take my list of 26 and I'm going to return to you guys on Saturday and give you the top 10 that I choose. So what do you guys think? You guys can hit me up on Twitter. I'm at More TA Podcast. You can hit me up there and we can discuss what I have brought up. What games do you think should have been on the list, weren't on the list, was on the list, but you thought it was not even, mentionable? What games would you put in your top 10 just off the top? Right off the rip? What would you do? And then we'll come together and we'll compare what we got. I'm really highly excited to get this list together for you guys because I really do want to put this top 10 together. So yeah, let's have a little bit of fun. And then next week, Wednesday, we're going to do a special episode. I want to let this whole idea bake. I'm going to just say it right now in closing. Google Stadia. All right. I hope you stay with me. I hope you come back next week. I'll be excited to see you guys here. Make sure to do me a favor. Take care of yourselves and each other. And I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.